Welcome back, everyone. We are on Digital Week Online, and now we're going to discuss very sensitive and informative topic: banking for the unbanked. Looks like so many people already here. The speakers are Prashant Surana, co-founder of Snapper Company; Dor Sebastião, CTO, chairman, advisor; Atil Yakub, founder of YopX; and moderator Mru Patel, Sapien Capital partner and CEO, Flash Group partner and CEO of that company. I am very happy to see all of you here. The stage is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sergey. After 50 times, you still say Sapien Capital. It's Sapien Group, but that's not a problem.
I'm sorry, I just read it somehow.
Not a problem. Anyway, let me quick intro. So yeah, I'm a partner and CEO, as he said, of Sapien Group and COO and partner of Flash Group. We are in the business of doing exactly what this topic is all about. We have our own blockchain, we have our own gold peg coin, we have our own wallet, we have our own exchange, etc., etc. All right, but less about me just now. I will cover a little bit more about that. Let me tell you how I want to run this very quickly. So quick 5-minute intro, your company, how you add value to the community. Less of the adverts, more of the content, okay? So let's kick off. And then what we'll do is after that, I will get into questions and bring everyone into the discussion on where we see this whole market going. Because for me, this is nothing new. It's not a new subject, banking the unbanked or the underbanked, okay? So without further ado, we have Prashant from India. Prashant, quick intro and what you do in this space.
Yeah, hi, I'm Prashant. I'm co-founder of Snapper Future Tech. So we are an enterprise blockchain company. I have a technology background, been in the technology space since 2012, started my journey with AI and eventually moved into blockchain. And also I'm involved in, bit side of like angel investing and seed investing into early stage or cutting edge technology companies. And, to be very honest, like I really wanted to be a part of something which is like internet kind of a thing, right? So my generation, mid 25, we have really missed that .com side of things, building tech, everybody going around, some amazing ideas coming in, and only few succeeding in or making to that success or to that kind of solving problem for the real world. And I think exactly with blockchain, we are at a same stage. And, that's what excites me, being at a very early stages of technology and seeing it actually, evolve from a lot of different use cases, different areas, right? Like, I mean, today we are not only thinking of, blockchain, like we used to think in 2017, 2018, like a money or a currency system. But now we are looking this technology more from data infrastructure or from trust perspective. If two parties or two new individuals, organizations, any person or even machines have to communicate, over the internet today in like a trusted ecosystem where I could potentially verify each and every data, I think blockchain is one of those technologies. So, I mean, this is not really something just looking from money perspective, but from technology perspective, it has got like tremendous use cases, and I'm involved in working, around those areas. So yeah, this is a quick introduction.
Fantastic. How long have you been in the market doing this, Prashant?
So in the blockchain space since 2015 mid, so it's been 5.5 years, but as an entrepreneur, like I think 12 years, yeah.
Fantastic. So I will cover in my piece about the .com days because I was there. Okay, thank you, Prashant. Atif from London.
Yeah, from London here.
How are you doing, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks. So great to be here. Thanks for the invite. So yeah, myself, founder of Yop, is a DeFi application, and primary kind of focus is really making it easier for people to enter DeFi market on a mobile phone. So, it's similar on the narrative of bringing, decentralized finance to more people. So we're really kind of community-based organization. And I'm also a board member of Pluto Digital Assets, which is a venture company here based in London. And yeah, generally very community focused from the YOP side. We're also actually building a community on the Pluto front. So we're very active, like on the ground in crypto. We like to kind of like give back and get engaged with people, take feedback and input into our product development. But yeah, my kind of history is I started with Bitcoin mining, and then I moved into GPU mining. And from that, I started investing, and that was, I started kind of 16, 17, went into like GPU mining. And on the back of that, I did some advisory at Ethereum, and we published a white paper from that. And I just moved into, various projects supporting them. And then the tail end of last year, I founded my own project. So I've been very active in the crypto space, and I enjoy it. I think, it's a community first industry.
How long have you been in it, Atif? Sorry.
About 4 or 5 years now. So yeah, and prior to that, kind of always been entrepreneurial background, having my own businesses. I had a office in Dubai, and worked in Asia as well. So yeah, different markets and built up. But now here in London, and yeah, growing the crypto base and community here.
Well done, well done. Thank you for that, Atif. Georgia, you can unmute yourself. George,
yes, I did.
under which hat? And go for it. Long time no speak, at least 100 times now. I think I've lost count.
Come on, we are doing a show every week with our
That's
colleagues.
what I said, at least 100 times. So
That's great. First, it's a pleasure to be here. So my name is George Sebastião. I have actually maybe too many hats at the same time, but let's go through a few of them. I'm a founder and chief executive in the GBO, Global Blockchain Organization. So this is just to help with enterprise blockchain. We help government.
Co-founder, George. Co-founder.
We help co-founder is good enough. It's good. We were at the same table when this happened, so we know how it happened. I'm also CEO in a new DeFi project called Nimbus, which is trying to bring extremely new finance to people that need this finance in the decentralized way. I'm a CTO within an African Middle East project known as Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is a project about gold tokenization and creating a stable coin, and also helping the bank for unbanked. And there is a long list, but we will leave it at this.
Well, let's stick to those three, George, because we haven't got a whole day. We've only got 1 hour. Thank you, George. Nice to see you yet again. Okay, so myself, for those of you who don't know me that well, Prashant, I guess, and Atif, we've met, I think we were trying to say. So I'm, as I said, partner and CEO of Flash Group, COO of Flash Group, and CEO of Sapien Group, which is the holding company. We do all these things I mentioned earlier, but more importantly, we are doing it in a community fashion where we give everything back to all the stakeholders in our ecosystem. The whole product exists. We've been doing masternodes and staking for a year now and giving very good returns, all with a pegged gold-backed coin, okay? So we've been doing that for a long time. In terms of my history and blockchain and all that, Prashant was saying about .com. So I was there at the .com days with Sun Microsystems, the .in.com when we created it with Java. So I've seen it right from that decentralization and cryptography ways of doing decentralized hosted services, we used to call it, well before Facebook started, but certainly with the eBays and Googles of the world. We were one of the first people who gave Google money to start it. And then one of our partners went there, and Eric Schmidt went and ran Google, okay? But for me, blockchain and cryptography started in those days, and internet started in those days. What we're creating now is a more complex way of doing trustless-based transactions and cutting out a lot of the middleman, because even in the 90s, I was always saying that a lot of these bricks and mortars companies will die. So in blockchain and the birth of Bitcoin, what it gave us was the fuel for the internet and all the other altcoins. And I can talk about meeting a lot of the big guys from most of these big coins, from the Ethereums to Ripples and what have you. In terms of this topic, I would like us to cover a key thing, and maybe I can start with George. banking the unbanked or the underbanked. We've been talking about this. I've been talking about this for 20 years, okay? When .com started, we were telling the banks to go online and to make it available. When the first Java-based phone started with Sony Ericsson, I remember, and the old Nokia PDAs, which we said one of the killer apps outside email in those days would be nice if you could do your banking and transmit people, transfer funds this way. And there were a couple of companies who did it with some Java apps using applets through SMS even, all right? Now that moved on, and now in Kenya, I know, which is where I'm from originally, born and bred, the M-Pesa and quite a lot of these other services have started for the last 4 years. George, where do you see the main difference, or where do you see what Ubuntu is doing in terms of taking it to the next level, okay? Because almost everyone has a wallet these days. It's so easy, albeit in Africa, no. But where do you see it going to make it even easier to disrupt that market in remittances, payments, small payments, things like that?
Okay, actually, this is very important because there's many elements that are critical to this success. The first one is accessibility. So people should have the capability to access this using something that is simple, something that is not always technological, and so on. So we have given them the capability of accessing their wallet either through a mobile or through a smart card. So this smart card enables you that you cannot afford a mobile. Guess what? You can still be banked for the unbanked. So the only thing you have to carry to you is a card that has all the functionality of the wallet built in. The second thing is you need to have a good stable coin, and there's a reason for that. In African countries, as we know, there is major currency devaluation that is a normal occurrence. So that really means one day you have X amount, the next day maybe that X amount is only worth half of that X amount. And this is not good. So that people want to feel protected. So it's good to have insurance of the wallet, but also protection of the assets you have on the wallet. The best way is gold, but there could be any other assets. But in this case, we decided to use gold the same way you use it within your own organization.
Yeah.
So this is only two basic elements, but there's other ones that are more important. One is to enable a point of sale device for every wallet. That really means that, as you know, everybody is an entrepreneur. But how do you get paid when you're an entrepreneur? Now you will be able to get paid in any format you want. You'll be able to get paid by QR code, proximity reader, smart card, etc. And you'll be able to be paid in multiple currencies, which is even better in flexibility. Number 4 is to have access to a marketplace. So that means whether you're selling, buying products or services, you can advertise, you can connect socially with the people that are part of your tribe, part of your community. And number 5 is one of the things Africa really needs is education. So we are providing an academy built in. Education does not necessarily mean to go get a university degree. It could be something as simple as a 5 or 10 minute YouTube that gives you a particular skill that is of importance to you. Maybe it's an agriculture skill, maybe it's a motivational skill, maybe it's a finance skill, we don't know, but we're giving you the capability to have access to those skills, most of them free, but for some of them, Africans will be able to create skills for Africans. So they'll be making their own money out of this academy as well. So these are the 5 key elements that I consider key. So Bank for Unbank is not just about giving them a wallet. No, you need to give them the capability to earn their own money so they can put it in the wallet.
Absolutely. So let me add to that, George, thank you. And if you remember my card, I showed it to you 2.5 years ago. So that's the card George is talking about.
I'm still waiting for my own version of it.
I will. Once you send me the order, we will do it live now. I've got you recorded. So fingerprint-based cards. So the future of cards will be onboard, Taser, Ledger, what people are used to keep their crypto based on fingerprint device, which is even better than any phone or even the police. It has 40 minutia points with a screen as well. So you don't have to know your name and number on the card. It is absolutely ubiquitous, all in one smart card. But some key points that George mentioned is the academy, which we do have, the Flash Academy. A key point is how to give them what I call sustainable humanity-based earning mechanisms. So we've got like a staking program that even by having the wallet, the money is making money for them, basically, so they can even for $1 eat for that day by just having some money there. So the social responsibility side is the big game changer that is going forward as well. Latif, it'd be great to know from you what kind of stuff you are doing in this space, where you see it going forward, where the flaws are, and what kind of things you're doing to address it.
Yeah. So one of the points that George touched on, I think, is a big thing, is that the technology is fantastic, especially in the underlying tech of crypto and what you can achieve with that. But the difficulty is that the vast majority of at the moment that is being built has been focused for like technical individuals who have all the resources at hand. So they're browsing on their laptop, they understand the tech, and they're going in as kind of semi crypto experts already, and they know what they're engaging with. So the big challenge to overcome now for wider and broader, more efficient adoption, I think, and this is where it takes it, you can take a product to all four corners of the world, wherever there's unbanked individual, that you need easy access. So people need to be able to engage with this technology without having to worry about, what's the, consensus mechanism behind it, which blockchain am I using, what's going to happen, and, is the fees going to spike on this network? Do I have to switch over? I mean, example I kind of give is, if you're using your Wi-Fi on your laptop and you're on Vodafone network today, and you need to just change your Wi-Fi connection to T-Mobile or something, a different network, it doesn't mean that you need to change all your browser now, or even maybe change your laptop, right? It's just an instant switch from a network. And these are the kind of things that behind the scenes, we want to make easier, so that we engage with multiple networks, but at the same time, the user doesn't need to know about that. He doesn't need to worry about it. The user just should be able to look at their phone, ideally, mobile based, because again, that's where the most, people are operating now. And like you mentioned, if you can connect a smart card, to that mobile, or you can even have some sort of, device like that using, NFC or something like this, that, they can interact with DeFi and decentralized products, where we're seeing income generation. Like Mira, you mentioned, you're offering staking with your products, and you're allowing people to generate some residual income from their portfolio. And this could be small, but what we envision is that it should be equal level playing field. So the guy who's depositing $50,000 and the guy who's depositing $5, it should be same for everybody. That customer experience should be the same. You shouldn't have a VIP experience for the 50,000 guy and then a terrible experience for the $5 guy. It should be a very level playing field, but a good experience. And I think we are seeing some changes in the industry, and we are seeing people develop better product. And this is kind of an emergence, merger from fintech and crypto kind of coming together, and people realizing that, look, we need to have a better customer experience. But yeah, that's something that I'm very, very focused on, but at the same time, not at the expense of, centralizing the product too much, So at the moment in crypto, most of the good quality we've seen is more on the centralized element, and then you add middleman. And as soon as you add middleman, you add more fees. And this is not, potential. Like you mentioned, if somebody's only earning $1 and you're already starting to take from that $1, then, this is not what we want to do, right? This technology is about allowing people to benefit with a good customer experience, and also keep their whole $1. And, we don't need to take anything from it. So yeah, that's kind of, I think, where we should be heading and focusing on.
You bang on, but I mean, there's quite a lot of us doing that. I mean, in our scenario, we try to make virtually zero fees, because there's other ways to earn revenue.
Yep.
You talk about ubiquitous wallet. So yeah, we've got all the PSD2 wallets. So you could have Midland Bank or sorry, Midland doesn't exist anymore. HSB.
The Midland days. Whoever knows about Midland banks, yeah,
that's giving you no, because I put their IT systems in Sheffield together, and I remember telling them at the time. Anyway, that's another long story.
Yeah.
Lloyd's, Barclays, HSBC, all these people, you have a PSD2 type of a wallet now, right?
Yeah.
So the PSD2 type of wallet, and now you have cross-chain types of wallets as well, which we are also developing now.
Yeah.
So not only your banking is through the same app, but also your cross-chain type of cross-crypto node-based transactions are all through the same simple UI, UX with foreign exchange, which is not taking, the MoneyGram, Western Union types of fees, dare I say it, or even the MX TravelX, which is going belly up anyway.
Yeah.
So the middleman is disappearing. So we are bang on. I'd like to bring Prashant in here. And Prashant, India, I know has got a lot of hoo-ha going on just now, whether crypto is on, not on, the legalities of it, and China as well. Because in China, and I was speaking at an event there just about a year ago before the lockdown happened. And in Beijing, I remember going around and seeing people paying with just a QR code, just like that, for even vegetables and things like that. And people get paid this way. So it was normal business for 0 fees. Now, can you imagine if India and China do this? That's almost half the world's population. That's your payment services, remittance, all of that crap sorted out very easily. And then you bring in your all-in wallet. So what do you see happening in India, plus together with what you are doing? Because we're developing this, by the way, as well.
Yeah, so actually the thing is that in India and China, I think the government has been a very, very big game changer.
Yes.
Like they used to be earlier, like a lot of these payment processors used to exist, like mobile wallets, something like WeChat Pay. You still have them, like Paytms and Phone Pay and a lot of other several payments have. But the biggest challenge with these payment application was, interoperability. And also businesses like merchants has to potentially pay some kind of a transaction fee and things like that. So where we talk about India, where, like 30% or the 40% of the population are like farmers or primarily involved in the agriculture based businesses, right? And first is that they don't have a proper banking infrastructure. They don't have like access to digital banks, though they have bank accounts, but it's just like, ledgers, which is like
a lot of unbanked people there. There's a lot of unbanked people. That's why I'm saying this subject is very deep.
So,
lots. And in fact, what Modi's done recently, or over the last few years, try and get banking included, because, when I last looked at the numbers, 90% of people don't even pay taxes there. So there's a lot of that white and kala dora paisa over there. And it's a cultural change people need to go through, but it's because there's lots of taxes and lots of difficulties in the payment and remittance side of the business, especially when you get out in the rural areas, right? So what I want to see is what is really a game changer thing that's happening for you guys to lobby India, because it's so ripe. It's so ripe.
So the one biggest area I would say is like the remittance. As I was speaking about that, the local payments market. See, almost now even rural areas and everyone is like on, digital banks and like mobile banking, and we have something called UPI, Unified Payment Interface. So that is like interoperability you could think about for payments between bank to bank communication. So like whether I'm like on any bank or any channel in across the whole India, let it be rural, let it be urban, let it be whatever it is, I could just transfer funds to any person's account instantly and cost free. And this entire infrastructure is supported by Government of India. So the domestic payment landscape is like solved to a lot of extent. And I think, a lot of new users are actually joining in, like it's seeing an exponential growth. So maybe by 2023 or 2024 or max by 2025, I think India would be like 99.99% banked because of the pace at which things are moving. Now, the area where I see is a very biggest opportunity for like banking the unbanked is like in remittance space. So basically, like you see that, like almost a lot of Indians, they work all around the world. Like, you, for example, settled in London, or maybe like, other people's.
I'm truly global. I don't know where I am.
So remittance is like two-way, right? There has to be channels for money coming in and also money going out. But if you look at this specific problem of just money coming in, like, most of the populations of India, they also work into other jobs like, real estate, kind of a typical, construction workforce, I would say, or any other like engineers on the ground level who their family actually, kind of stay in India, and then they don't have, like proper banking infrastructure to remit money via banks. So they use this third party mediums like, cash or some third party, a guy like a system which we call Hundi, right? They still use that. Yes, yes, yes. And I think,
Hawala.
yeah, so I think,
Hawala system.
yeah, so I think that
is all still happening. Amazing system.
yeah, so I think remittance still, I think at least, 1/3 or 2/3 of the remittance systems all in India and outside India happens through that. That's not because of tax purposes. That's because there is no proper, infrastructure. Because if any money coming in into my
There's
account,
an element of tax as well. Let's be honest.
yeah, but
Let's be honest.
the biggest challenge is finance, right?
20% on the top with the tax.
Of course,
No, I
which is
think
where 80% of the transactions happen. But that's another point.
Yeah.
I think, see, taxations are there in all capitalistic countries. Like, I mean, it's like a matter of like 2-3% or 5% max. But the bottom line here is that like ease of doing a transaction, because whenever a foreign money hits to my account, or if I have to send it, I have to, go to my banks and, fill physical forms and everything. Let it be $10 or let it be $10,000. So I think that is where a modern era problem of banking the unbanked lies, like specifically the remittance space.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Prashant. And another angle to that as well is, the world is flat. And you said, you took me an example. There's tons of people now who are working borderless anyway, because the internet has made life like that. And more importantly, this COVID has made people even more like that. So it doesn't matter where you live, yet they need to transact. So why do they have to be a new person when they travel, bank accounts? So now there are global accounts. There are global payment systems, global remittance systems, global banking. And I've always said, we don't need banks, we need banking. You need banks, but not the retail banks that traditionally have been operating. The headquarters side, which is doing, bank to bank types of transactions or bank to person type of transactions. So in that flat world, even the underbanked people, and I'm not just talking India and Africa and China, because even in UK and even in America especially, they still have that check system where people go and collect checks and bloody cash it at their gas station. So, it needs to be made very, very simple. And let's take it to the next level with the CBDCs coming on. How do, actually, George, that would be a good one for you. How do you see with the CBDCs happening, where all these remittances, wallet companies, thousands of crypto coins trying to do this cross-border payments? How do you see that panning out?
Well, actually, I see a great opportunity, and the great opportunity is going to come from many elements. One is CBDCs are going to happen whether we like it or not, because the central banks printing paper is simply too costly for them, and it does not move fast enough. Number two, CBDCs will enable central banks to collect taxes much more efficiently than they are doing right now. So it will remove a lot of the what we can call the underground economy. So the next thing that is going to be very important is what I would call interoperability. So this interoperability is going to be key to the success. And this interoperability is going to come from two primary sources. One source is the capability of doing interchain and wrapped coins, so that you can easily collect on one chain, send it to the other, and vice versa. And this means between CBDCs, digital ERC20 coins, and others on other chains as well. And the second thing is going to be the capability to offer innovative products that run directly on the blockchain. And this is where DeFi is key, because DeFi is the bank of tomorrow. And the reason why it is the bank of tomorrow is because it allows people to earn a residual revenue or continuous revenue without doing much. So that means they can stake coins. By having deposits there, they will have the capability of getting in and getting out liquidity extremely fast. One of the things that I think is extremely important, especially in DeFi, is not just the DeFi coins that we see today. It's also the DAO governance system. Because at the end of the day, the people that participate in the banks or these DeFi projects also want to be members. It's like a co-op system. And how do we make them members of this co-op system? You give them voting power. So they're the ones that are going to decide what are the next features that come into play, how do those features get released out. And DAO governance tokens are going to be as important as the primary tokens that we issue every day. What we're really trying to do here is we're putting decentralized power in the hands of every individual. And this is going to be key to the success of the DeFi projects of tomorrow. The last point that I think is very important for the success of DeFi is going to be the tie-in between the virtual world and the physical world. And what do I mean by that? Today, most of the DeFi projects have virtual synthetic assets. When we start tying synthetic virtual assets with physical ones, could be gold, could be real estate or others, then we will be moving in the right direction in terms of getting assets that also the everyday user understands. Everybody understands real estate, everybody understands gold, everybody understands all these physical assets because we have, or even shares in companies. So by having
You've gone mute, George. Okay.
there was a missed call. So this is these spammers, people keep spamming all the time. That's no worries. So these synthetic assets will actually enable us with the physical assets to give credibility to the DeFi project as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for that, George. And we've talked about this at other events before as well. But to add to that, what George and me, we discuss about this a lot actually, is the DAO and the merge and the convergence of DAO, DeFi, traditional exchanges, traditional wallets into a good, what I've always been saying for the last 3-4 years, is an omni-channel view, making it so simple for the user that they can be doing these types of transactions in a simple way. And DAO, whilst it has good name, bad name, depends where you go from or listen to. But now, George, I don't know whether you've heard, and everyone, listeners, there's Wyoming who are trying to create a proper incorporation for DAO-based structures now as well. So this will and this will legitimize it, this will regulate it, and this will give it a lot more credibility in a US regulated jurisdiction. And I think it's much needed because the future is the DAOs, the DeFis, the decentralized ways of working rather than centralized. Even Ripple tried to do it centralized with a hybrid of decentralized, and they are struggling just now, as we all know. Let's take it next step up, Atif. Atif, in London being a hub, sorry, before I get to you, I think the last 2 questions, I was just reading what Sergey wanted to ask. Sergey, that kind of like covers what you wanted to ask, I think, anyway, right, Sergey? Give me a yes, no.
Yes, I want to cover one thing more, when each of us traveling from one place to another for the first moment, when we are do not legalize somehow, we are tourists, we're no one for that country, and we face that problem to be unbanked for that very short period of time. I want to be hope
that's what we covered. Yeah, that's what we covered when we said one wallet, one bank, global. Thanks, Sergey. Okay, so Atif, so in London being a hub, and now with Brexit, we see, and I'm a very vocal speaker in Malta, Dubai, and all these people, Estonia's having licenses. So we have our own license in Estonia for financial institution, banking, not banking, but wallet and an exchange. And we are going to go for banking license as well, but in a regulated way. But UK still has that name. Hell, we created all these islands, Gibraltar's, Malta's, Seychelles, BVRs. We created that centuries ago. There's no person on this planet or no country in this planet who knows it better. With Brexit, do you see that happening? And do you see, if it happens, I wrote a paper to the government 3 years ago and said, if this happens and you do this and actually become a blockchain fintech island, you will destroy and capture most of the world and the market. Do you see something like this really happening in UK? Because that would change the whole remittance, fintech, and blockchain marketplace.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. It would be huge, and it has been spoken about a number of times, and I'm hearing about, this is the opportunity. There's a lot of people, lobbying the government to take that position and to jump ahead.
I wrote a paper 3 odd years ago.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity, but unfortunately, up until now, they have been quite slow to react. Like in the comparison to the Maltas and the Gibraltars, Estonia, all of these guys have kind of really benefited from having those structures in place for crypto companies, even in Switzerland, right? With like Crypto Valley and Zug, they've gone ahead. But I think with the detachment now, after like post-Brexit period, there is an opportunity, and I think London can kind of see. London still carries the prestige, right? A London financial hub is still, there. The London Stock Exchange still has that name. And definitely
it's losing ground, Atif. The problem is it's losing ground.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And the issue is here that that there's a huge opportunity on hand. And should there kind of this opportunity be taken up, I think kind of like digitization starts here, with so there have been discussions even at the moment we're discussing with public companies where they're trying to create these regulated structures where, there's frictionless movement from traditional share trading to digital tokenized versions or synthetics of these share certificates. So I guess this goes a little bit beyond just financial transactions from money remittance, but also in financial participation, because one thing bringing wallets and banking the unbanked, as we're saying, is it allows now everybody that previously wouldn't be able to participate in the financial market to be inclusive. Right. So now with these like zero fee structures and borderless token movements, we're now creating a situation where everybody is on a level playing field and they can engage. So, Robinhood was supposed to, I guess, be that, but they're facing challenges with, regulators and with their market makers kind of influencing, whether they can trade or not. But with the crypto equivalent or with a decentralized version, like George is saying, with a DAO structure and when DeFi behind it, that you can definitely do. Right now, you can see a structure where everybody can participate in the financial market and everybody can make gains. So it's not just the big guy and the small guy. And I hope, really, being in London myself, I really hope that the UK kind of starts leading this charge of having clarity of the regulated vehicle and then the kind of like borderless vehicle, and somehow, a hybrid of that coming to market. It's a huge opportunity, definitely, no doubt.
And I ran the public sector business for Siemens and Sun Microsystems in the 80s, 90s, and was on the board of a lot of government bodies as well. The UK government online was me with Tony Blair and his people. So we got them all online. So I know what lobbying is about. It takes bloody ages. But,
yes.
But let me tell you, if London really becomes a DAO center, how company licensing is so easy to do in UK. They create a DAO similar to Wyoming or better, and they create a fintech hub in Canary Wharf or wherever they create it. That would totally, absolutely destroy the world market, and London would become, the 7 trillion that goes around daily on trading. London could easily take a huge slice of that.
Definitely. It
needs to happen. It needs to happen, and I hope they do it. I know the central bank is already talking about it. I was speaking to one of the advisors there from Accenture, so I hope that happens. And this will make the banked, unbanked as a global movement that will really be a game changer. Prashant, and again, with India. With India very closely aligned in terms of the laws with the UK laws, albeit not like anti-crypto, anti-crypto. Let's just leave it at that for obvious reasons. If London became that, my view is India would really jump on it and use it as a regulatory blueprint, and it would really become a major force as well in India. What's your view, Prashant, if something like that were to happen?
You are
For the
talking about,
banked and the unbanked. It's at the end of the day, we are the people who will all earn instead of having multiple, glass house buildings with people earning billions as salaries. All that middle tier is cut. Now that money goes back to feeding the people, and that's what I mean by social responsibility. Now you're feeding the people instead of taking a cut on top of cut and having 50 head offices and so many branches. Not needed. Say, give that money straight back to the clients, right? If that
right.
happened, India would be a huge developed country in terms of where it is still underdeveloped. It would bring a huge movement. What's your view?
So I think this is what eventually the futures look like with the introduction of payments bank, right? So like we have now, payments bank coming in, and they cater to that market that, yeah, like, anyone just with an identity proof can potentially open their bank account, and then they provide a beautiful wallet and things like that. But what I feel is that at a much global level, these payments bank are not capable enough of handling business transactions. Like, you understand, like, what I mean. So let's say, for example, even if a small guy in some suburb or some parts of India where, you don't have banks like ICICI Bank or SBI and, all of that, even if this guy wants to, get money for his imports or, remit money for his exports, is like still like almost, impossible, right? So I think that is where one of the biggest opportunities catering the unbanked population would lie. That is one area. The other area is that, like, in also in terms about like investment, I think at the same time, when not only when you're doing your business, but also it's very important to put your money to work and find opportunities which actually meets your expectations or your requirements. So for example, right, like even if I'm like a small farmer in India who's just making probably like $500 or $600 a month, but I would want to, obviously multiply by my wealth. Like, I cannot go and, invest in Nasdaq or any of those investment opportunities. Like even gold, to me, to a lot of extent, is like restricted, right? I cannot go to some retailer, buy gold, and I realize at the end of the day I get cheated, right? Like, people want to buy more physical things, and that is where we also see a lot of these frauds happening, because of lack of digital education or, like right technology in place. So not only catering, banking unbanked and all of that, but I think even getting people access to global investment opportunities is like really, really important. What crypto has actually done on a very good side is that, it has, through IDOs, IEOs, ICOs, whatever it is, like through tokens, you actually have access to global capital, right? You're actually getting a value, not you say or not what VC says, but what actually communities say about you. I think that's a true form of value in a lot of ways, right? Like, I have 50, 100,000, 200,000 or 500,000 people believing in my project or in my a token. That's like a value creation, right? So I think it is solving that problem and giving people access to, global investment opportunities, which was not possible before, in a much transparent way. So this is my like, take. So not only for like banking, unbanked and everyone, I think we all in some way or the other today, because of these traditional systems, are still unbanked. And I think there is a tremendous opportunity to solve problem at every level and all classes of society.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Prashant, some of the things you talked about there, how do you give that accessibility? That's exactly been our vision. In fact, our mantra is financial inclusion and beyond. That's our mantra, our tagline. And we give these cards out through our own crypto stations, like an ATM, where you don't need an address or anything. You just go pay, and 7 days later you get your card. And then with that, away you start your own banking and a very simple wallet. So that's our whole ethos about helping people like that. So they can earn the staking on the wallet. They can earn interest that is significantly bigger, over 30% per year, just by owning the wallet and having their money sitting there. They can go and spend it as they want, things like that. And they don't need to go through all that rigmarole that people go through. And as you rightfully say, in the suburban areas, people generally don't even know how to even have the guts to go there into a bank and a branch to open an account and fill in papers and all of that. And there's almost 1.5 to 2 billion people like that. Depends which numbers you look at. So it's a lot of people, and a lot of untapped what I call clients. But then you couple in the example I gave with the Americans who still get their paychecks written and cut and they go to a gas station. That's another few hundred million, you know, so it's a lot like that. I'm conscious of time. We've got about 10 minutes left. Let's have some closing remarks in terms of what would you call kind of like nirvana. Okay, let's go with George. George, what would you call nirvana in this space?
Nirvana in this space is really one we have been able to help and include the biggest population of this earth. And I remember there's a good friend of mine, Brock Pierce, which we all know together.
Yeah.
And he came up with an interesting definition of what he calls the modern billionaire. Yeah. And his definition is as simple as that. You want to be a billionaire, you find a solution that helps 1 billion people. And that's really what we're actually trying to do here with DeFi and this technology. We're trying to find a technology that helps everyday people to have a chance to be part of the system, to survive, to have a roof on their head, to be able to eat, and to be able to take care of their kids when they go to school. That's our ultimate nirvana and goal. Everything else is not noise. So important.
It's capitalistic noise. Well done. We have the same vision as we always do. Atif, where do you see this?
Yeah, I guess it's the point where we reach, you know, where interoperability and all these networks can engage with it, with each other without the user having to worry about it, and everybody really can benefit from the technology. Right now, there is many hurdles I think we still need to cross until we get to that point. You know, there's a lot of work to be done, basically. So we have the tools, we've figured it out in terms of, you know, the technology is kind of being created. Now is the point to go and, you know, like really execute and connect the dots and bring this to product to people. And I think that is where it's seamless for everybody. Like I give that example earlier, you know, the guy who's got $50,000 or the guy who's got $5, once it becomes seamless for that kind of level of the high net worth in one place and, you know, the unbanked guy who's never even had a transaction, and they can kind of be on the same platform and you know, have borderless transaction and experience the same level of inclusivity in the financial system. That's the kind of the point that, you know, we say, okay, yeah, fine, you know, we kind of made it, we did what was kind of set out to do. And you know, going back, one important point that you made, it's not only in undeveloped you know, countries. This is global thing. You know, in the US, if you try to send a payment from one state to the other, oh my gosh, I tried it like once. It's like, you know, it's probably more difficult than sometimes sending an international remittance. So there's so many levels that this kind of technology solves. It's not just on a level where somebody's you know, unbanked in Africa or in India or in a rural area. It's in developed countries as well. Yeah. And once we have a seamless transaction from California all the way down to Delhi, then that's, I think, the point where we can say, yeah, we made it.
Absolutely, bang on. Keep it simple. Absolutely. Prashant?
I would like to conclude this in like one statement, like when Bitcoin potentially becomes like the currency of the universe, I think that's like the nirvana, right? I mean, you go to Mars, you go like anywhere across the globe, you just have one money, one monetary system, let it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever it is. But I think we really need like that one kind of an asset rather than, you know, always watching our rights, like how dollar is performing or how pounds are performing or how euros are like kind of performing. So I think that would be like nirvana, like, you know, smart contracts, and then everyone's like, you know, mining, you know, and becoming like a node validator just with the smartphone. I'm earning some sort of percentage of transaction fee, and I have like one currency across the universe. I'm a true social being, right? You know, nothing to worry about, nothing to work. I have computers to work, and I think that would be like true nirvana. And I think with blockchain, to a lot of extent, that's possible. Yeah.
Prashant, I think that would be disaster. competition breeds lots of things. You gotta have some competition. and okay, even if you're Bitcoin maximalist or whatever, Bitcoin cannot cut it today, and that is a fact. Okay.
I just gave an like example about Bitcoin.
No, you gave an example, but there is no single currency that claims it can do that. And perfectly, I understand and see exactly where you're coming from. So the way I see it is kind of like a collection of what you guys have all mentioned is one cross-border mechanism, like how there was SWIFT, but at a fraction of the cost, at the fraction of the speed, boom, no middleman. And I call it people to people, not peer to peer, right? Almost a people to people. And I even on one of Sergey's events last year, I call it PFI, not DeFi, right? As he keeps smiling, right? So P5 for me would be nirvana, okay? So it's decentralized. Yes, I think George's thumbs up. He remembers that day. I think it was September or August. I think I called it P5. So it's.
Are you going to create an NFT token out of that?
That's my IPR, buddy.
The P token, the PNTF.
Yeah. So that P5 model it's a DAO where everyone gets credited. So the example I gave of, even if you're a villager in the community, all you happen to have is a mobile, one per family, and you're earning money. You have one card, which you don't really need an address, but you can have multi-crypto, multi-fiat, multi-whatever you want, multi-cards if you're a complicated user. That's it. One all-in-one card, one all-in-one wallet. You can go anywhere in the world and transact. Any accounts, any currency you want. One currency would be disaster in my view, but it'll be multiple currencies. And okay, sorry to bring it up again, like XRP was trying to do that middle piece of doing cross-border payments at I think it's 0.403 cents per transaction, which is, might as well call it zero, and a guarantee of less than 4 seconds per transaction. So that's the level it needs to get to. When that happens, when you have an all-in-one wallet that's earning people money, just like how banks earn the money whilst you keep your money in their banks, you give it straight to the person. You go anywhere in the world or wherever you transact through your QR code, NFC, Bluetooth, RFID jammers, so no one's stealing your money by touching your card. So that's what we're building. And that to me is nirvana. And you're building communities where they can do the agro, nano, quantum-based farming technologies, academies to teach people to do it, to work from home, from wherever. That to me is nirvana. With that, I would like to say thank you very much to the panel. It was a nice, fun, exciting session.
Always amazing.
Always great. Thank you, George. Sergey, by the way, Atif and Prashant, just ping me on LinkedIn, please.
Yeah.
And Sergey, do you want to add some closing remarks or comments or ask a question if anyone wants to ask a question?
Guys, looks like our nirvana already happens. It's here. It's online in this digital space. And I would like to ask you a question. If you really realize how that new kind of economy, it's not based on the stuff economy, it's based on a digital one, it's based on the space of imagination. Already know we are on the right way. We are going to make it happen together. Thanks to all of you, really, guys. I really appreciate what you do. I really get excited of your my thoughts, because for me it's very interesting things. Also, I would like to say thanks to all of you and say goodbye for this session. It's really great one. And Gorgas, I like it, and I want to say to our viewers, hold on, stay tuned. We'll be back very soon.
We've got 3-4 minutes, so if there's any questions, let's go for it.
Thank you, Sergey. Thank you, Maru.
Sorry?
Thank you, Sergey, and thank you, Maru, and thank you, the other colleagues that are there as well.
Yeah, Juliet and everybody else. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody in the back office, give a shout out to them always.
Yeah, big shout out to Juliet and gang, absolutely.
Juliet as well, of course. We will never do without Juliet too. So.
Juliet, absolutely. Wonder Woman. All right.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Miru. Great host. Great host. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks.